Mm-hmm. It definitely is, man. So now, what exactly is a trauma professional? You say you're a trauma professional, right? What is that?
Sure, it's an additional certification. Yeah, it's an additional certification um, that just shows that you have a level of having a trauma-informed approach. These days, what we're finding, a lot of the research is showing that old ways of looking at trauma or PTSD really don't do justice to the full spectrum of what's going on and how human beings are being impacted. The old research for PTSD came from, it used to be called shell shock. They're recognizing that war veterans coming back and just being obviously rattled in ways that were drastically different from when they left in very similar ways. And they called this condition shell shock. And over time, post traumatic stress disorder. And the belief used to be that folks who experience these huge singular events or small periods of time with large events, that was what was required for trauma. Um, and which made a lot of sense to people because a lot of times the folks coming back from war like scars or so as you could see like, okay, like you were in some of those settings or you had an invasive hospital procedure, I got this car accident that was really sudden, like you can kind of get why someone would get
Right.
rattled in that way about feeling out of control or having loud noises or whatever. But what we're finding now with research around what are called adverse childhood experiences. So this is just having a really disrupted family household for whatever reason, like untreated mental health issues. People come in and out from prison, having really high conflict in the household, or having domestic violence in the household. When kids grow up with this stuff, in a collection of what I would just kind of call like little T traumas, just like these not big T stuff, not like the kids in Syria are experiencing or anything like this,
Right.
or in Central America and some parts of Central America, but it still creates a degree of lack of safety and distress combination that the human brain isn't designed to sift through and to make sense of and to integrate, especially once we take into consideration this concrete jungle thing, in that where our abilities to regulate ourselves and heal ourselves and be more kind of in tune with our natural ecosystem as designed. So what happens is you have all these adverse childhood experiences, and then especially for men, a lot of times we have attachment issues and attachment injuries because we like grow up as we're little boys being told, I don't want to hear you crying. Come back, get out of here. Come back to me and talk to me when you're ready to talk like a
Right.
man, which means
Suppressing your emotions. Right.
exactly. So this stuff gets all combined. And what we're finding is a lot of people have remnants of trauma symptoms that present as anxiety or depression or compulsions or trauma or, addiction, and even autoimmune disorders later on. So in something that I recognize pretty early on, being a kid growing up in a situation that had some of those things happening.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather is also an Auschwitz survivor.
Oh,
He
really?
was,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. He was a character, man. He was cool, and we grew up like right down the street from him, and he was kind of the safe zone house. And I grew
Mm-hmm.
up listening to his stories about a lot of this stuff and realizing that when you don't push the pace, he can go there more. When you like keep it fun and help him feel in control, he'll tell you more stories. And I didn't know what it was as a kid. I just knew that when I did these things, it got more fun and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Right.
later, when I was working with this stuff, I kind of innately knew how to navigate those spaces with people. And then when the research started coming out, I was going like, oh, okay, there, like this is words for it. Here are some standardized approaches for using it, and have really fallen back of this clinical work and using it. It
Mm-hmm.
was a really long answer, but yeah.